Did you know the skull is actually made up of sections? And there's what are called the sutures, which are really joints. There was an author, John Upledger, who pioneered cranial sacral therapy. And a big part of that science is the knowledge and ability to adjust the cranial joints. They're really joints. I have this schizophrenic friend, schizo disorder, real good old friend of mine. He's just a normal person, frankly, but he's just got some wild stories. Anyway, he once was showing me how to pop the skull in some ways, and now it's not uncommon. All like this area here, there's a joint right there, and what I can do is press with my hand, and while pressing, kind of lift up and push to one side and then the other side, and I'll actually get to I'll pop that. And I know from my personal experience, sometimes I have a pain and I pop it unexpectedly. Even sometimes I'll be able to pop something in my body at large, and I'll feel relief. I think we've all had that experience. And although I don't get headaches, I sometimes think, well, perhaps someone could benefit from popping their skull. Silly as it sounds, that's one of the easiest places to do it right there. It's like I say, just putting the palm of the butt of the hand right there, and then pressing in and up a little bit, and pushing to one side and then the other side. Sometimes we go to pop. And in this area here, kind of, you can see the corners. It'll pop. It'll actually pop, which is kind of funny because for most adults, they teach that the sutures are fused in the skull. But cranial sacral therapy is really something special. The idea is that so you breathe, you have that body rhythm, you have your heartbeat, you have that body rhythm, but there's another body rhythm that most people don't know about, which is the cranial sacral fluid, the cranial fluid. So in the spinal column and in the head itself is a fluid that flows, and it has its own pulse. Well, people who study cranial sacral therapy, a lot of times they will use the like the cranium, like the occipital lobes, and then the sacrum, the hips, to adjust that system. And I'm not a trained masseuse, but I've done a lot of massage and I've done a lot of studying of the body. And if I'm working on somebody, a lot of times I'll start on the feet, and I do some metaphysical stuff. But if I'm doing any sort of massage stuff, a lot of times I'll just grab them by the ankles and kind of move their hips a little bit back and forth. And it's surprising, but if you tune to somebody's presence, you can find little tensions or micro movements. And like I say, if you just tune to that, their body will in some ways guide you. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just grab their ankles and I'll pull, boop, 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 and I'll kind of shake their hips from their ankles, and I'll just tune to it. And it's really quite surprising. But a lot of the work of John Upledger regarding cranial sacral therapy is centered around people's old hung up emotions being locked or stored in this, like the memory is stored in that system. Something else that I found really fascinating, and I don't know how it is that they just discovered this, but the lymph system actually drains the brain. They just discovered this like the last year or two. But there's actually